Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to episode 264 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Geige, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a good week. Excited to be here with all of you. For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you all do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. That's what we're calling it, Ask StreamYard. So if there's anything you'd like us to touch on tonight, feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll do our best to get to as many as we possibly can. And three, I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional streams. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. See folks tune in from all over the world tonight. I see Canada, Philippines, Massachusetts. Great to have all of you here. Before I forget, we have some awesome shows on StreamYard. We have YouTube channel reviews with Dee and Daniel the second Saturday of every month. Really fun show if you're looking to grow on YouTube. Both of them are pros when it comes to everything YouTube and everything video, and they do sort of specific deep dives on individual channels to help you think about things like your thumbnails, your audience. Really great show. And then we've enhanced your live streams the last Tuesday of the month with Nick Nimmin, who again is a pro when it comes to all things video. So check that one out for specific live streaming tips. And then one thing we've been doing at the start of these so that we get to know a little bit more about you and you get to know a little bit more about us is a fun fact. The fun fact we had for tonight was, do you have a favorite Pixar movie? And what is your favorite Pixar movie, assuming you have one? Do you have one, Dan?
That is a fun one. It's tough not to choose Toy Story just because it's kind of the original and it's outstanding, I would say. So for me, it's a split between that and then of the more, well, I don't know if you call this recent, but somewhat recent ones. I really like the movie Up. So I think I'd go with Up. How about you?
I still need to see Up. I've heard good things.
Very creative. Quite a unique idea.
It's been a while since I've seen a Pixar movie, so I think I'd have to go with the classic Toy Story is definitely probably comes to mind. It's probably my favorite one.
Safe choice.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I see you already have some questions in here. Let's get to some questions and then some topics that we wanted to touch on for tonight. One was from Clarine. Clarine says, I only stream my LinkedIn live show once a month. Can the destination's time period be extended so I don't have to go through the redo process every time? Do you want to take that one, Dan?
Interesting. I'm trying to understand exactly what you're referring to, Clarine. Do you mean you have to reconnect it every single show, like go through the reauthentication process on LinkedIn?
That was my understanding.
Yeah, ideally you shouldn't have to do that. I think it should at least last a few months. One thing, I'm trying to think what could cause that. Maybe first, if you can just let me know, Clarine, if that's exactly what's happening for you. Because yeah, it should last a few months, not a month.
Cool. And for people that don't know what we're referring to is the way StreamYard works in terms of like getting comments and being able to integrate directly with platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube is we basically get some permissions. And then for security, basically those platforms, if you haven't used it for a while, will sort of rotate those out and make you reconnect. But yeah, usually it shouldn't be, you should be able to go for at least more than a month.
Yeah, and LinkedIn does kind of refresh them, or we basically refresh them in the background, so you shouldn't really have to redo them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be good to confirm, Clarine, just so I can make sure that's exactly what you're referring to. Like basically, do you get the warning that says, hey, we're about to lose access to LinkedIn, or we have lost access to LinkedIn, or are you talking about something else?
Yep, please let us know. Jamel says, will StreamYard be at the NAB show this year? I am not 100% sure. I'll have to check in with the team. I know that in past years, we definitely considered it. So I'll let you know next time, Jamel. Dice Grinder says, feature request, can you add Kick to StreamYard so we can see their chat in StreamYard? Custom RTMP doesn't show the chat. Yeah, we're definitely open to it. Dice Grinders, generally the way that we approach new platforms is just based on user demand and how many folks are actually streaming to that platform. So if Kick continues to be a popular request, we're definitely open to integrating with it. I'd be curious how many other folks out there are actively streaming or interested in streaming to Kick.
Yep.
Woody says, do you still have the Getting Started with StreamYard week-long tutorial? So I think it's been a bit of time since we used to do sort of like this group challenge where folks would get into a group together to sort of help inspire each other and get a chance to keep each other accountable to get started live streaming for the first time. So it's been a while since we've done one of those, Witty, but we probably should do one again. So maybe stay tuned in the Facebook community group, and we'll keep you posted there. And if you don't know where that is, if you just type in StreamYard official group on Facebook, it should pop right up. If you are looking just to learn, though, we do still do weekly webinars every week that walk through the whole product. So that'd be a good one to check out if you just go to StreamYard.com/webinars/getting-started. I think it is, right? Maybe Dan, if you're in the chat.
You got it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. See, quite a few other questions here. We'll get to those in a second. I want to make sure we touch on some of the topics we wanted to mention for tonight. One was, in case you missed it, we did have a new feature announcement last week that we're really excited about, which was captions for shorts and reels. So basically, after you do a live stream or a recording with StreamYard, we do have that editing functionality now where you can go in and edit the live stream. And in the first iteration of, I guess, leading up to captions was the ability to have transcriptions. So we have transcriptions in that editor that make it really easy for you to find, exactly where maybe you were talking about a particular subject or something, because the whole transcript's on the left there. And then one of the most common feature requests was like, hey, I would love to have these burned into the actual video so that I can share these on something like TikTok or Shorts and Reels, where folks are often watching without audio. So it's a pretty popular thing to have. But I think it was rolling out when we chatted about it last week. It should be now available to everybody. So if you've had the chance to check it out, would love to know your feedback, because it's just the first version. We're going to continue improving it. One of the most immediate ones I think that came up last week was obviously the ability to edit the captions. Right now, it's just basically what was captured, but we definitely want to add editing in the future. Anything to add to that one, Dan?
I don't think so. Yeah, just looking forward if anyone has any feedback for it or any other really like feature requests you'd like to see on top of that. That's always useful to see, because we will be expanding this quite a lot.
Absolutely. Let us know. Hey, Tangerine, nice to see you here. I feel like it's been a minute. I love that I can see super chats and SY. Can we also show FB stars within the app? It's the FB version of super stickers / super chat. If it's something that we can access over sort of the Facebook integration that we have, I assume it's something that we do want to add at some point. Any thoughts on that one, Dan?
Yeah, last time I checked, we weren't able to access it through Facebook's API, so then we obviously can't display it. But I'll check again just in case they have actually added that. And we're always chatting with them, so we could give them that feedback as well.
Cool. Yeah, we'll let them know, Tangerine, if it hasn't changed. Maybe it also could have changed recently that they have added it. Roy and Becky's Travels says, are we ever going to be able to combine LinkedIn live stream chats into one central chat? So I don't know if I'm understanding the question fully.
You can only stream to one LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Do you want to take that one then, Dan? I believe it's a LinkedIn policy, right?
Yeah. So assuming I'm understanding it correctly, like when you create a stream on StreamYard, you can only select one LinkedIn destination. So you can't stream to, 5 LinkedIn company pages at once or 5 different profiles or anything. And that's not anything on our end. That's just something that LinkedIn doesn't allow. So in that sense, no, you can't really do that, if that's what you're asking. You could obviously have like separate streams where you stream to a bunch of different places, but it's not possible to stream to maybe 5 different LinkedIn pages at the same time, just because LinkedIn doesn't want that. You can also, what some people will do is they'll just have kind of one main feed on LinkedIn, and then they'll share that out, have a bunch of people share out the link, basically. That is an option. So maybe that works as a workaround depending on your use case.
Cool. Kayla says, is there a way to add the live chat on the screen? So you absolutely can add individual comments like I'm doing now with your comment, Kayla. But when it comes to, if you mean like embedding the entire live chat, you can't at this time. It's something that we're open to adding. Historically, we've been hesitant just because if you have the whole chat in there, if someone puts in a crazy comment or an expletive or something like that, it's now permanently part of your stream. That being said, we've definitely gotten the feedback that some people are willing to take that risk and they just want to have the chat in there. So we are open to adding it. Brad says, feature request, the ability to add photos through present at the bottom of the screen would also be beneficial to be able to add more than one at a time. Thanks. I believe that is something we're looking into, right? Dan, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, it is definitely something we're looking at. I don't have a timeline for you of when that would be released or exactly how it will work, because we want to make sure we do it in kind of the most intuitive, simple way possible. But yeah, it is something we're looking at.
Awesome. Let's see. See lots of other questions here. Mikey says, still looking for the ability to present video from my StreamYard library in the studio. Yeah, that's a good one, Mikey. We hadn't heard that one for a bit. But yeah, basically past videos that you actually have stored on StreamYard, the ability to show them in the studio. I think similar answer to the last one is something that we absolutely want to support at some point, but don't have a date at this time.
Yep. Yeah, and for the previous question as well, for slide sharing or sharing a bunch of images, one thing you can do, I know it's not ideal, but you could create a Google slide, for example, or a PowerPoint, and just paste all of your images in there. So you have like a separate slide for every single image, and then just share the slide deck, and you basically have a slide deck of images. I know that's obviously a little more work than what you actually want to do, but it is kind of a nice way to just share a bunch of images if you really want it to look kind of how it looks with screen share, where you can have the videos on the side and the images just taking up part of the screen. That can be a pretty good way to do it. You could also screen share, of course, like screen share. If you're on a Mac, like the preview app where you can actually just click through each image, that's a decent approach as well.
Awesome. Tons of great questions here. Let's do a couple more. And then there were a few other topics we did want to touch on. Let's see here.
I saw Chlorine mention not getting comments for LinkedIn. There is I would say like a bit of a known issue we're aware of where some people are not getting all their comments for LinkedIn, and we've mentioned it to LinkedIn and they're looking into it. So I'm hoping, well, you're probably affected by that, I would guess, and hoping they can fix that relatively soon. Not everyone's affected. It's just like some small percentage of users seem to be affected, and only some comments seem to not show up, but they are looking at it.
Cool. Adam says, question, the ability to change the layout and customize the box's size. Yeah, so one thing, Adam, that I think you'll be happy to hear is a bit ago, we did add the ability to do custom layouts. So when you're in the StreamYard studio, there's a little pencil icon next to the default layouts. Actually, that one's actually for editing. There's also a plus button next to that pencil. And if you click that, it basically enters you into this layout creation mode, where you can have all kinds of cool customization options. So yeah, you can control the size of the box, exactly where it's located. I've definitely seen people do some really, really cool, visuals using the option.
I'll make one on the fly here. Let me try to think what to do. I'll just move us to the left so we're much smaller on the left, just for a second. So,
all right, I'll do another question while you. Oh, you did it quick. So yeah, as you can see, you can do whatever, essentially anything you want there, Adam.
Yep. Yeah, we tried to make it super easy to use as well.
Brad says, is there a way to add transitions between using the different layouts? So there's not a way to do transitions at this time, Brad, other than it sort of just has like, the default transition that you saw there. One thing that I've alluded to a few times in the past is under the same sort of, theme, I guess, that custom layouts was, in terms of like, hey, for folks that do want to have more control over, different aspects of the stream, giving folks a way to go deeper, but keeping it still very easy for folks that aren't interested in that. There's sort of a next version of that's coming to the studio soon that I'm going to be really excited for folks like you to see that will unlock a lot of these sort of different things, where keep things really, really simple, but for people that do want to have a bit more flexibility when it comes to sort of the timing and things like transitions, you'll have some cool options there. Cool. All right, maybe let's do one more. Marianne says, I know it's been asked, but when you will have a dark mode, please? Yes, dark mode definitely is a super popular request, and it is something that we plan on adding. I don't have an exact date, Marianne, but I can say relatively soon. It's definitely been a hot topic for a long time, so relatively soon we would like to add it.
One question here from Chris is basically highlighting a YouTube members comments. We do have, it's a weird looking logo. It's like, I assume you know what I'm talking about, hopefully, which is the YouTube member logo. It's like a circle with 2 lines through it. We do show that in the studio, so I'd be curious if that's enough for you, if that's just way too subtle and you want something to kind of highlight them a little bit more. And also curious if you just want something to kind of identify those in the comment section easier, so like maybe a slight color or something to make it clear that it's a member's comment, or if you'd actually want it to be starred or maybe shown on screen automatically or something. let me know.
Cool. Let's do one more of the topics we want to touch on, then we'll get back to the questions, because I see that we have quite a few still to go. One that we want to bring up was, I think many folks, we've mentioned it quite many times now, so most of you are probably familiar, but in case you're not, I just wanted to quickly see if there's any new feedback on Instagram and the Portrait Studio. So in case you missed it, obviously one of a very common requests for a long time was the ability to stream to Instagram. Unfortunately, Instagram greatly increased the amount of, or essentially everyone now has the ability to stream to Instagram if they want to, by switching to a professional account on Instagram. And if you don't know how to do that, we have instructions on StreamYard of how exactly to do it. And it's totally free. It's when I say professional, it's related to Instagram, not StreamYard. And then we also, to help support that, launched the Portrait Studio version of StreamYard for folks that are interested in sort of having a main focus on the live stream going out to Instagram. So just wanted to re-mention that, and if there's any, and check in if there's any new feedback for folks that are streaming to Instagram or using that Portrait Studio in terms of things you'd like to see. One thing that we've definitely gotten a lot of feedback on is we understand that the current integration with Instagram is definitely clunky in terms of the amount of steps required. And the main reason for that is at this time, they don't have the same types of integration options that something like a Facebook or YouTube have, but we're giving them that feedback, and we're hopeful that we will have the ability to integrate with them more smoothly over time. Right now, we're trying to do the best with what we have available, but definitely understand that it is a clunky process at the moment.
Yep.
All
yes,
right,
unfortunately, it is.
Tyson says, when I do local recording and the computer downloads the files, is there a way to put them back into a split screen together? That's a great question, Tyson. So that is something that we're actively working on, because we know. So right now, the answer in terms of like the most common way that folks would achieve this is we do have direct integrations with like the Adobe suite of products and those types of things. So generally, what someone would do is export those local recordings into something like Adobe, and then basically use Adobe to restitch those however you want. But definitely know that some folks want to have a simpler experience and be able to do things just right on StreamYard. So that is something that we're actively looking into. You also have access to the cloud recording, but I assume you want to use the local recordings given that you have those on.
Yep.
Hiroshi says, question, our Japanese community did on air a couple of days ago. Is it possible to change the first and last name sequence? Japanese use last name and first name by Hiroshi. You want to take that one?
Yeah, it's good to know. I think we could probably customize that just based on country, essentially, by the sounds of it. So yeah, we'll look at that for you.
Cool. Let's see here. Everyday Part of Life says, is there a way to block trolls who come up on the SY link to panel who don't comment in the chat? I've tried to boot them, but they keep coming back. So we did add something specifically for this every day. So in the settings, you do have the option to turn on this thing called guests must authenticate.
I think he probably has that based on how he's describing it.
Okay, maybe I'm slightly misunderstanding, but I guess for folks that don't know, you do have the option to basically anyone that joins your studio, force them to log in with Facebook or YouTube. So they at least have to, okay, I didn't see the last part. That's the 50 other accounts. So at least they have to like make another account to try to join. But yeah, it is limited in that regard. So for that reason, our number one recommendation is always to, instead of publicly sharing the link, make sure that you vet folks beforehand and make sure that you only folks that you trust have access to that link. But do understand that there's some show formats where you kind of want the link out there.
Yeah, and I do know. I know this isn't ideal, but sometimes I've seen people too. Like if you have someone that just keeps coming back and has a ton of different, YouTube accounts or something, and you banned a bunch of them and they still keep coming, you obviously don't have to add them to screen or anything. So if they are just sitting backstage, at least they're not on screen. But yeah, I know that's not necessarily ideal. So we'll keep thinking about if there's maybe a better way we could help handle that. But yeah, best thing is just don't share your link publicly with everyone, if possible.
Absolutely. Call Me Crafty says, question, is there a plan to integrate the giveaway tool into the studio itself? I do them almost every live stream. It would be handy. Thanks for everything. Yeah, that's definitely something we've considered. Call Me Crafty as a way to integrate stuff like the giveaway, and not just the giveaway, for folks that are doing more custom type activities like the giveaway, like maybe things like a scoreboard for sports and whatnot, give them some way to more easily integrate that into sort of the studio experience. So that is something that we're exploring.
Yep.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Zev says, does Instagram only work with a paid plan? No, Instagram actually, it's available on all plans.
Everything.
Yeah. I was thinking I was remembering that it used to be custom RTMP, but it is now available on all plans. Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of confusing because, as Geige mentioned, with Instagram, you have to have an Instagram professional account. But that's an Instagram professional account. It's not a StreamYard professional account. And those are free. It's basically just a setting you change. I think Dana actually already shared the link to how to stream with Instagram, which is just a link to our support doc for it. You need an Instagram Pro account, which is free. And then on StreamYard, all users can stream to it.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we had here. Another question from Zev. Is there an app version yet for StreamYard? Yes, there is for the guest experience. So one of the things that we wanted to do, especially for local recordings, in order for folks, especially on iPhones, where Safari historically has not always been the greatest experience when it comes to sort of the video technology that we use on StreamYard. So by launching a native version, we figured that would be helpful for giving guests specifically on iOS devices the best possible experience when it comes to sort of audio video quality. So that is live now on the App Store. If you're a guest, you can use that to join. And we're also actively working on a producer version of the app as well. But right now it's just for guests.
Yep.
Paranormal Gateway says, question, adding the ability to bring all your guests into the live stream at the same time instead of one at a time. You want to take that one, Dan?
Cool. Yeah, it's a good question. So Geige kind of covered this earlier. We're getting into more customization stuff and obviously trying to keep it as easy to use as physically possible and kind of making it where you only have to use it if you want to use it. But one of the things that will allow is bringing multiple people on stage at the same time. So relatively soon.
Awesome. Let's do a couple more questions here. Do you want to start pulling up the giveaway for tonight, Dan? Will I do?
I would love to.
Awesome. Petty Talks TV says, question, can you possibly let guests see each other at the backstage? Only have a basic plan. I want them to be able to see each other like in Zoom, even when they are not on the stream. Yeah, that's good feedback, Petty Talks. I think something that we're still actively talking about and exploring. There are trade-offs that we're trying to figure out, like the best way to do it in terms of like, sometimes you don't necessarily want the guests to be able to see each other, et cetera. So something that we're still thinking about, but I understand why that's interesting to you.
Yep. Yeah, no plans to do anything yet, but yeah, it is on our mind.
Cool. I think many folks are already familiar, but yeah, we always do a giveaway towards the end of these streams. So to be eligible, all you have to do is type in hashtag the yard and you'll have a chance. And you can actually run a giveaway like this on your own. We made the tool that we're using here publicly available. So the same way that we're doing this giveaway, if you just go to StreamYard.com/giveaway, you can use it. There's a video walking you through how to do it. And you can basically choose your own keyword and do a giveaway just like this. And tonight we'll give away a StreamYard sweater and a StreamYard pillow. And we'll maybe give you 10 seconds or 15 seconds or so to get in your hashtag the yards.
I saw a question about background MP4s because the GIFs basically don't allow you to upload very large files. We do have background MP4s, so you can upload an MP4 as a background. And yeah, it basically solves the problem you're talking about, where GIFs obviously are pretty limited in file size. So you should be good to go.
And Nikki, I think I saw a few questions from you on the soundtracks. We don't have any new soundtracks at this point. I would be curious, like the types of soundtracks you'd be interested in hearing. Like, do you like sort of the current variation of the soundtracks we had now? Or are there particular types that you'd want to see more of? I think in the past we got some feedback that it'd be nice to have a bigger range of like some that are like more upbeat and less upbeat, et cetera. But good to know. All right, is the number still ticking up? I think it's probably.
I think we're pretty good.
All right, let's do it.
And sorry, what are we giving away?
We're giving away a StreamYard pillow and a StreamYard sweater.
Cool. Good luck, everyone.
Good luck. Michael, congrats. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. If you could send an email to contact@StreamYard.com, the team can get you your StreamYard pillow and your StreamYard sweater shipped on over.
Cool. Congrats.
R3 says, unfortunately just got in. Will there be an option to do polls through StreamYard while doing a live show? So we are absolutely looking into polls specifically for on air, because that's and if you don't know what on air is basically StreamYard's option if you want to do a private live stream or do your own, basically like a webinar with registration and whatnot, because that's definitely a very common request specifically for on air. When it comes to live shows going out to social, it's something that we're open to. We haven't fully decided how to handle it because there are various polling options with the platforms themselves and whatnot. So something that we're still thinking through.
Yeah, and I don't think any of them support polling through the API. Like they don't have polls through their API anyways. But yeah, I would be curious if you'd want it with the social platforms or if you're more interested for on air.
Yeah, let us know. I saw a question or a comment at the beginning here from the Wanderer. That's super kind of you. Thanks, the Wanderer. Yeah, we absolutely love doing these shows, and it's our pleasure getting a chance to connect with you guys and getting your feedback. So super kind of you to say that.
Yeah, very, very useful for us just hearing from all of you.
Absolutely.
Can you hear the rain in my background? It just started pouring rain, and I've got a tin roof. Hopefully, it's not too loud.
No, I can't hear. Maybe the audience can, but
I do have background noise removal on, but it is very loud.
The Junk Drawer says, question, when I try to join my stream from my phone to use as a second screen, I can't seem to avoid feedback. I turn the volume down on my phone. Any other suggestions? Do you want to take that one down?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this can get a little tricky. So I assume you're basically hosting and then you have a phone that you're using as like a second screen, second camera. So yeah, the challenge here is like the audio comes out of your computer and goes into your phone. The audio goes out of your phone and into your computer. So you basically need to, often people will mute one of them. So say you want to mute your phone and then the audio like can't go in that direction, but then it's still going to come out of your phone and go into your computer. So you'll want to kind of mute your mic on your phone and also mute the volume on your phone if you're just using it as a camera, and then you should be good. Hopefully that makes sense.
Cool. We have time for maybe one or two more here. One from Tangled Stitch. Could you add an option to right justify the overlays we add so it is not centered on the screen for a square overlay photo? So I'd be super curious, Tangled Stitch. One thing that we've talked a little bit about in the past that we're looking into adding is when it comes to the present option, making it much easier to basically share a bunch of photos or something. Like if you have a bunch of pictures on your computer that you want to sort of cycle through, basically making that much easier. I'd be curious if that would fit what you want to do, or is it no, specifically the overlay section is better, or if the ability to have that in present would actually accomplish what you're trying to do.
Yep.
All right, I think we have time for maybe one more here. Let's see what else there was. Leaving Scientology says, is there a way to detect a camera besides the settings, the camera settings? My StreamYard sometimes detects it, but sometimes not. But OBS seems to always pick it up. So usually with that, leaving Scientology, it might be because another device has priority over it. So usually it's just maybe closing out of OBS specifically, and then or other programs that might be using the camera. That's usually why it might not show up.
Yeah, the typical things that can help is close other programs that may access your camera, and this could even be things where they're not currently accessing your camera, but they did. So say you had Zoom open and you did a meeting, and then you're not really using Zoom, but it's still technically open. It could kind of lock your camera where then Chrome can't access your camera. So if you close that, and then also you can just quit Chrome and restart it, that might also help. So it's usually kind of those two things. And you can also restart your computer. That usually helps too. But it's basically like if we're not showing it, it means Chrome's not picking it up. And if Chrome's not picking it up, it's typically because another app has it, or Chrome for some reason is just kind of not able to pick it up. And so restarting apps typically works. Cool.
All right. And with that, this was episode 264 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure getting a chance to hear your feedback and talk with you about StreamYard. We'll see you next week at the same time, Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.